Hello, this is Tamara Mitchell Davis, the CEO wife, and I wanted to take this opportunity to welcome you to our session together, Write Your Story. And so, congratulations. I hope that this session or this time with you will inspire you, will motivate you to start and or continue in your writing journey. So, without further delay, we will jump right into it. Let me share my screen. All right, so write your story. This is what we will cover today, from ideas in your head to words on paper. All right, so what we'll cover: push past fear and doubt and get started, why you should write a book, identify your target audience, and steps in the writing process. And I love this picture here with the light bulb because it's just a reminder that there's more. There's more. So we have to push past some things. We may have to break out of some things, those comfort zones, but there is more. So my promise to you is to get clear on your big message, know who you are writing for, which is your target audience, feel motivated to start or continue writing, and then I'll have a quick activity to share with you at the end. Also, I want to leave you, or actually not even leave you because we're just getting started. What I want to encourage you to hold near and dear to your heart, to your mind, is the words, yes, you can. Yes, you can write your story. Yes, your story matters. Yes, your experience matters. Yes, you have what it takes. Yes, you can do it. All right. So, if this has ever been you, you had the idea to write, you want to write your story. Matter of fact, you've had other people tell you you should write a story or your story, and you sit down to write, and this is what happens. You start staring off into space, or maybe you have all of these ideas swarming in your head. Now you are feeling a bit confused, not sure what to write about, not sure where to start. And you just sit there. You sit there just thinking, and thinking some more, and not writing. So, yes, it happens. So, I just wanted to say that first and foremost, it does happen. So, what I do know is that fear and doubt are twins. One shows up, and here comes the other. And so, if you have ever questioned yourself, I'm wondering if you can relate to this. Have you ever questioned yourself, who am I to write a book? Or I'm afraid my book won't be good enough. Or how will people see me after? Or everything I have to say has already been said before. So we question our experience. We question the story. We question if we have what it takes. We're afraid to venture out into the unknown. We're confused about the process. Like, what does it take for me to write and publish? So fear shows up, and then here comes doubt. Or doubt shows up, and here comes a little bit of fear. So it happens. So, one thing that you need to know is that a book won't just write itself. Nope. So, I know we would like to think that we can click our heels, wiggle our nose, blink our eyes, and the book will magically appear. That's not the case. And so, I am here to tell you firsthand that that's not the case. Although I wish it was that easy and simple, but it's not. So, a book won't just write itself. It does take time, it does take commitment, and it does take showing up and taking action. All right. So, a little bit about me: I am the founder and CEO of TM Davis Enterprise. I am an award winning and best selling author, 4-time published author, writing coach, book consultant, and a few other bullets there. But it's not about the accolades, it's not about the titles. Why I am here before you is because I have once walked the same path that you're on. So, whether you are starting out and you are unsure what to write about, whether you have the idea or ideas of writing a book, but you're just confused on what to write about, or maybe you started and you stopped and you started again and you stopped, that's why I'm here. Because that was my same pattern, starting and stopping and questioning if I could do it, and just being confused about what that looked like because I had never done it before. So that's why I'm here to share that with you. So, my confession to you is that it took me a few years to get my very first book out. I shared some of the reasons with you a few seconds ago because I did not understand the writing process. I did not know how to start. I did not know where to begin. I had all of these ideas. I wanted to cram all of these ideas into one book, and I just became overwhelmed. And when you are overwhelmed, there's like little movement. If you're feeling overwhelmed, this isn't something that you even want to deal with. This isn't something that you even want to face or tackle. And so I kept putting it off, and I kept starting and stopping and not finishing. So that's my confession, that fear showed up and so did doubt. And it took me some time to get my very first book out. But my next confession is because I was able to still eventually get on the right path, and figuring out some things as I went along, I was able to complete not only one book, but several books and work with women and completing their stories as well. So that's my confession. So, my lessons learned, as I've shared, fear and doubt will come and go, one without the other, or maybe both at the same time. But what prevented me from moving forward was fear, was doubt, perfection, and expectations. So, the perfection part of me wanted everything to be perfect. I wanted to wait until, as we say, all the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed, the kids are older, certain things that we need to get done is done. We're in certain positions at work, or we reached a certain status quo, or we just need something else to happen in order for us to move forward. We want it to be perfect. And so let me just share this. Um, Chasing perfection is like a hamster on a wheel. It just keeps going round and round. And perfection is something that cannot be caught. So that's what I learned. Also, expectations. In my head, there were certain expectations. I placed certain expectations on what I thought things should be like, sound like, how it should just be. And I stayed boxed in the expectation until I opened my eyes up or my mind up to say, you know what? Let me just deal with what's before me. Let me use what's within me, and let me just do this right now. And so I challenged the expectation and I just started doing. All right. So the results of that, the results of not allowing fear to overtake me, the results of perfection, the results of the expectations. So what happens when fear and doubt, perfection, and expectation shows up? Right? We put it off. We don't want to face it. We doubt ourselves. It's the idea of perfectionism that we're striving for. And then even imposter syndrome. So, yes, we think, or feel, who am I to share this? Who would want to read my story? Do I have, credibility to share this? What makes me worthy enough? Am I the expert at this? Like, we just start questioning things, and we find ourselves in the space of imposter syndrome. And so, what I've done with fear is, because it's common for me, normal for most, fear is, I ask myself two questions. Do I want to face everything and rise, or do I want to face everything and run? And so I don't want to run. I don't want to run anymore. If I made up in my mind that I want to write a book, I want to start a business, I want to give back, I want to eat better, I want to live a more healthier lifestyle, like whatever I make my mind up to do, this is something that I've decided. So I want to face it and rise. I'm not running. And so I had to use the word play here, the acronym SPHERE, to come up with something a little bit different. And then I heard it somewhere else too. And I'm like, you know what? That makes so much sense. So, what is your why? Let's focus on your why. Why do you want to write your story? Why do you want to leave this piece of literature in the world? Why? What's the intent? What's the motive? What's the agenda? Right? A lot of times we may say, "Oh, I want to do it. My why is my children, or my why is my spouse, or my why is my career, or my why is." And so I want to say, let's be a little bit selfish with it. What is your why? Like, what is motivating you internally? Because when the kids grow older and they're out of the house, what is your why? If you're saying when the kids get older, or what is your why if your career track changes, or your job changes, or you find yourself in a different space. So what is your why? And not align the why to something tangible, like an object or a person. What is your why? So, is your why to create value? Is it to leave a legacy? Is it for credibility? Is it for impact and influence? Is it to make a contribution? Is it for an additional stream of income? Again, you decide what that is. No one else can dictate it for you. No one else knows it better than you. What is your why? Right? And so at one point I found myself saying, "Oh, my why is my daughters." And while that may be true, I'm thinking, okay, eventually my daughters will, grow older and they'll be married, or they'll go off and, start living their own lives. And then what will my why be? So, yes, it could still be my daughters, but what about me? What am I looking to do? What am I striving for? What is my goal in life? All right. So, what is your why? And then why do you want to write a book? Is it personally fulfilling? Is it for you to achieve a goal? Is it for visibility and credibility? Do you want it to position you as an authority? It's easier to self-publish today than it was years ago. That's statistical information. It is. Back in the day, we heard about traditional publishing and hiring a publisher and all of that. Now you can do everything yourself. And so if it's to, self-publish, then so be it. If it's to create an additional stream of income, then be okay with it. That's your why. And so I wanted to start off another topic, and that's your audience. Because sometimes when we go to write, we do not consider our audience. We think about, oh, I want to write a book because I have a story to share. And yes, that's great. But let's think about the reader. Let's think about the customer. What is it that we're looking to share with them? What will be the impact? What will be the inspiration? What will be the motivation? Why are you sharing this message? How will it help them? So, who's your audience? So, the audience is the reader, the customer, your client, right? Anyone who picks up the book, who reads your story, it's the intended audience of your message. And so, who is that? Is it male? Is it female? Is it adult? Is it a child? Right? So, based on who your audience is, could drive your content. The way that you speak, or the stories that you share, or the experience that you align with your story in book form. If it's for a more seasoned female adult, that message would change if your audience was a male, if your audience was a child. So, therefore, just get clear on who your audience is. Who are you looking to serve? Who is this message intended for? How will you impact, or empower, or inspire? How will you connect with them based on your story? So, here are some questions to consider. Your target audience. Who are you writing your book for? What are their pain points, right? What are they currently struggling with? What are they currently going through? What problems are they experiencing? How can your experience, how can your story meet them where they are? How can it help to change whatever they're going through? Excuse me. How do they feel about it? What are they currently doing to try to solve it? And what problem are you solving by sharing your story? And I usually speak from the space of nonfiction writers, nonfiction authors who speak or write to or write from experience. So it's truth, it's fact. So, what are you sharing with them, with your reader, with your audience, with your client, with your customer in the book that can help them, that can meet them where they are? What message are you looking to share, that align with what they're currently dealing with? Because the truth of the matter, people read books based on help, based on um, looking to gain more information, more knowledge. People read books for escape, right? To escape from the current state of reality. They may read a certain genre of a book. And so, what is your book doing for them, or what will it do for them? And so, how to start. So, remember why you started. Remember, I said go back to that internal. Why do you want to write a book? Why do you want to share your book? Begin with the end in mind. So, thinking about what I just shared, how you are looking to meet your reader, connect with your reader, share an experience, share your story. How is it going to help them? So, begin with the end in mind. So, you can actually start writing from what you hope they gain from the story. Give yourself a deadline, right? And so this is about goal setting, of course. So give yourself a deadline. So when do I want my manuscript? When do I want the content finished? Or you could give yourself a goal of, or commit to writing a certain amount of words per day or per week. It's totally up to you based on your schedule. But these are just some ideas on how you can get started. So give yourself a deadline in writing, a deadline or a timeline, and how you show up daily or weekly in meeting the goal. And so you want to eliminate distractions. So, what are distractions? I chuckled at that one because distractions are our cell phones, um, home phones, if anyone has them these days, anything that can distract you from what you are currently doing. So, turning off the notifications on your phone, turning off the notifications on your computer, not stopping to scroll through social media to see what's going on. Nope, this is time that you are committing intentionally so that you can get it done. And so you want to eliminate distractions so that you can stay on task and on target with what's before you. And change your environment. And so changing your environment means that if you are not inspired to write where you sit down and write, then change it up. Go where writers go. Well, we can't really venture out right now and just hang out in different spaces, but is it a coffee shop? Is it a library? Is it a certain space in your home where you feel inspired to write? Is it the dining room table? Is it the living room? Is it your favorite chair? Change your environment. And then another tip is to just free write. And so, yes, it is good to have a guide, but there may be some times when you're inspired. You may just sit down and was like, oh, I have this idea. I want to write about this. Just write it. Just write. Don't worry about spelling. Don't worry about grammar right now. Just write. You want to get those ideas. You want to get those thoughts out of your head and onto paper. And then if you sit down to write, as one of the women in the picture on a previous slide, who was just staring off into space or frustrated, frustrated and confused, and you're just not feeling motivated, step away. Get up, remove yourself from that space at the moment, whether it's to take a walk, whether it's to just watch TV, whether it's to do something other than what you are currently attempting to do, and that's right. So if it's just not flowing or working for you right now, don't get overwhelmed with it. Don't get, you know, upset with yourself. Just step away, remove yourself from it for a little bit, and then go back to it. Another tip is to create a book outline. So I usually create book outlines. For me, it's the blueprint of my book. It's what I look to share out. And so I create an outline. I write down, what I think the chapters should be. I write down the content of the chapters and I organize later. So because I write it out as if, chapter one and then write content, I am not sticking to that to the end. It can easily switch around based on how I finish. My mission, my goal is to just get it out. But I create the book outline because it helps me to see, okay, this is what I want to write about. This is the topic. Here are some experiences that I can relate to that. And I just write it. I free write and I use an outline form, but I organize later. I go back and organize later to make sure that it makes sense and it is aligned to my overall theme of the book. And then I also do a knowledge audit. And so a knowledge audit is just basically thinking about, okay, what do I already know right now? What do I know right now that can align with the message that could um, connect with my reader? What do I already know? What have I currently experienced? What can I share? Right. And then what I know is what I start writing about, and then I can research other information later if I need to, but at least I am starting. And then another tip is to prepare a PowerPoint. So think about when you are creating a PowerPoint or some type of presentation, you're not writing everything out verbatim on a PowerPoint slide or, in Microsoft Word or some other platform or program. You're usually putting bullets down. And so those bullets are little nuggets of information that lets you know, okay, here is a little bit, but I can explain or expand on this thought. And so you want to, or could prepare your book as if it's a PowerPoint. You know everything that you want to share in the book. So put some bullets, put some little nuggets down. And based on the nuggets that you write on paper, you know those are areas that you want to or need to expand on. And so this is the exercise that I said I was going to share with you at the end, the activity. And so grab a piece of paper and a pen and just work through some of the questions here. Work through some of the questions here. So, what is my book about? Right? Think about that. What's the topic? What's the concept? What's the big message? What's the theme of the book? What is your book about? What do you want it to be about? Oh, I want it to be about my life. Okay, so what about your life? What specifically about your life that you want to talk about? And that's a start, right? And so you pull that out and write that down. This is what my book is about. Okay, so who are you writing your book for? Talk about your audience. What are they currently experiencing? If you are relating it to your life, then think about what you may have gone through, how you were feeling. What are some barriers? What were some challenges? What were some victories? What was the experience, right? Think about you and how you felt. What were some emotions? And just write it out. Who are you writing your book for? And describe this individual: male, female, young, older, seasoned, educated, or not, or what are some things that they're currently dealing with? What's um, their income status? What's their marital status? Like um, there's so many other qualifiers or criteria that you can use to define who your customer is, your audience, the demographics or the psychographics, right? What are their interests? What are their values? What are their beliefs? And this is just a preliminary activity to do so that you can come up with a profile of your customer. Because as you write your book according to your customer, you can then market to your customer who's your reader. All right, so let's go back to the message part. So, based on what your book will be about, remember, what is your book about? The topic, the concept, the theme. Based on what your book will be about, list three things that you can connect to your subject matter on what your book will cover. And so that's why I said grab a pen, grab some paper, or use your notebook and write down those three things. And based on those three things, start writing specifically to those three areas. And with this activity, with this short exercise, guess what? You started writing. You have started crafting out pieces of your story. So, whether you have started writing, or let's say you started and stopped and now you need to pick up momentum and get back at it, you can still do the same activity, the same exercise, because what is it doing? It is allowing you to bring up or revisit or uncover some other areas that may be specific to what you want to share with your customer, with your reader, with your audience, right? It's not until we tap in, like we tap in and see what else is there. What else can I talk about, right? So who are you talking to? What's the theme of your book? What are some experiences that you can relate to it? You know, how did you feel when you were going through? Where were you? Like those are additional um, um, ideas that you can use as you start and or continue writing. So that's a quick activity that I wanted to share with you. And so, summary, to summarize our session, yes, I talked about the twins pushing past fear and doubt. Why write a book? I talked about your target audience, and you'll hear this word used interchangeably. You may hear target audience, you may hear customer, you may hear avatar, you may hear reader. It's pretty much the same depending on what it is that you're doing. And then tips to get started. And so the tips to get started, just to get started, were ideas on where you can begin. So a knowledge audit, a PowerPoint presentation, free writing, of course. And then the exercise that I just did with you, four short, small areas on how you can answer questions, and those responses that you come up with to those questions can help you start writing the content. Okay. So, because of my book, I was able to start my business on the back end, meaning when I started writing the book, I did not know that it would become a business of mine. And so, yes, because I've walked that path, I know the path. I said, you know what? Yes, I could do this. Yes, you can. Remember that. Yes, you can. So, I started my business on the back end with services, being the writing coach and book consultant, and also products that we have aligned with inspiration and book writing, etc. I've been interviewed on different platforms, so radio, television, and print form, received awards around writing and, you know, within my community and also outside of my community. I started a private writers community on Facebook for aspiring authors. I've been able to create an additional stream of income, and also um, credibility, visibility, and confidence. So as I shared, fear and doubt will show up by themselves or as twins. However, do not allow that to stop you or hinder you from moving forward, because you have a choice. You can face everything and rise, or you can face everything and run. Remember that. So think about, what exact solution is this book going to offer? Going to offer for your audience, going to offer for your reader, going to offer for your client, for your customer. It's going to offer you the opportunity to share your story. You will inspire wholeness. You are making a difference. You are becoming a published author. And it allows you the opportunity to connect, encourage, and engage with others through you sharing your story. And so I wanted to congratulate you for taking a step and moving closer to starting or restarting on your writing journey. So I welcome you to join us in our Facebook community. The link is http://bit.ly/join the writers community. And so we will welcome you over there. But again, congratulations. This is Tamara Mitchell Davis, the CEO wife. And again, I thank you for being with me during this time. And I also congratulate you on taking the step and starting. Take care. Talk to you soon.